Today we are playing Ice Station Zebra, aka Grishoalbrand Reanimator, again in Modern. So if you watched the last video that I made on this, in fact the only other video I've made on this so far, and if you haven't, go check it out. But if you have watched that, then you'll know that last time I had a couple of changes that I wanted to make to the list. And the main one was that I wanted to add Haywire Might. We are an Urza's Saga deck, and so Urza's Saga fetching out Haywire Might gives us an easy answer to artifacts and enchantments. Often that is going to be the means by which our opponent is trying to shut off our graveyard or shut off our reanimation package. Now, the core of Buried Alive, Goryo's Vengeance, Shifting Woodland has worked out very nicely. But I had an idea when thinking about how this could potentially be improved of, well, one of the things that Neobrand kind of wishes it was able to do is to run a win con that isn't 2 Mox Ambers and Sorin, right? Neobrand doesn't have the high enough black count to support Soul Spike, but we do have a high enough black count to support Soul Spike. So our win con now is Soul Spiking our opponent in the face, and then looping at least a small loop with Endurance to draw a couple more soul spikes to finish our opponent off. Now, this is not an infinite situation, because we do need to keep exiling green and black cards to Endurance and Soul Spike, so we will eventually run out of cards or run out of life to continue drawing, but we can definitely regularly do 20 plus damage with this. You know, I think it's pretty reasonable to do 1 loop and then 8 soul spikes, so I think it's pretty reasonable to be able to expect to do like 32 damage or something out of this. So another big benefit of playing the Soul Spike package over the Mox Ambers and Sorin is that we can win at instant speed now. So previously we'd have to win on our turn because we played, you know, the Mox Ambers are sorcery speed, Sorin is sorcery speed, and Sorin is also open to sort of damage-based creature removal or like Fatal Push or something like that. So then we need another answer in the deck in order to be able to stop that. Now, yes, in theory they could have removal for our Grishoalbrand, but that's something that we, you know, can play around to some extent by drawing more cards in response, and there's not that much room. I mean, some removal hits Grishoalbrand, but not all of the removal. So, another big benefit to going for this Soul Spike package and winning at instant speed is suddenly we are immune to Bowmasters and we are immune to Sheoldred mostly. So, you know, we can just draw all the cards we want, put the Bowmaster triggers on the stack, and then keep drawing more cards, and we can definitely win a game with, like, you know, deal 60 to you on the stack with Bowmasters or Sheoldred or whatever, and we just win in response with our Soul Spikes. So that's something pretty cool. Now, you may notice that this list no longer has a turtle. Well, because Haywire Might is an artifact creature, that means land, Buried Alive, which is a sorcery, Grishoalbrand, which is a creature, and then Haywire Might as your artifact gets you to Delirium with 1 Buried Alive target. So we don't have the same need for like an enchantment creature. Other than that, the list is pretty similar. And yeah, I mean, we can do some cool stuff. We can, you know, Goryos on our opponent's end step or whatever. We can Goryos in combat on their turn to bring in a blocker and then gain life and then start our chain off of that. Shifting Woodland on the end step, untap Shifting Woodland again or something like that. So we have a bunch of cool lines. But let's see how it goes. And yeah, it's you know, we've got some interesting stuff. Oh, I didn't even talk about the sideboard. We got some more Haywire Mights, Pact of Negation for counter magic, some Saga targets, Needle. Vengeful Pharaoh is something that we can interestingly stick in the yard with Buried Alive and potentially have be useful from there as like an extra thing to stick in the yard. Footsteps of the Goryo for when we need a little bit more speed and we don't care about going off at instant speed. Sorin potentially to dodge Grave Hate. Or even if there's like some Grishoalbrand specific hate, Grishoalbrands get extracted or something, we can potentially Buried Alive a Sorin, Goryos it out, and then Shoal Worm and just win with the Sorin. So that's the plan. Let's see how it goes. This deck was really sweet last time, and it definitely impressed me, so hopefully it's going to continue to do so. Okay, so Mint or Minty from the future here. Just if you have limited time, I would suggest watching the match number 3 in particular. So match number 3, there's some pretty sweet stuff that happens at instant speed using using draws in response to things, and you know, putting Grishoalbrand into play in response to things. And it results in some pretty funny situations. So limited time, watch match number 3. But if you have the rest of the time, then this league was a really sweet league overall. Match 1 is a little bit rough, but then everything after that is really good. So if you're interested in this deck, I highly recommend you know, watching a lot of it. All right, bye everyone. Check out round number 1 in a second. Round number 1, we win the die roll and we are on the play. This hand, I mean, Shoal's not really that useful. Grishoalbrand in hand is iffy. We do have our Surveil land, and we can Grizzly Salvage on 2. I think this hand is probably just slow, and I think we can probably do better, so I'm going to mulligan this. This is really not better, and this is going to be another mulligan, unfortunately. Triple Grizzly Salvage with our only land as Shifting Woodland is definitely a bit awkward. One nice thing about this deck is it does mulligan fairly well. This is better. Yeah, so we can ship both Soul Spikes. Yeah, I think both Soul Spikes. And we can lead on Cottage, and then hopefully we mill over something with Salvage, and then we get to Goryo's it back. Oh, did I just click through my turn? I did just click through my turn. Whoops. Great start. We're off to a truly fantastic start. Our opponent is playing a control deck, it seems. Maybe not, I mean, but maybe. Could also be like Atraxa Goryos or something like that. They have Grief. We just click through our turn. They're probably going to take the Goryos. Yeah, they're playing Atraxa, it looks like. But alright, so they do take the Goryos, as one might expect. We could play the Saga here, but I think I'd rather get the Grizzly Salvage going. Could think about the Saga on next turn, depending on what we draw and depending on what they do. Our main deck Saga plan, we don't have the main deck Nile Spellbomb or anything like that, so our main deck Saga plan is not quite as good. Okay, so here, because they are threatening to bring back the Grief, and also because I drew a Goryos, I'm going to play the Verdant. And the goal here is going to be, if they bring the Grief back, then I can Grizzly, and at least maybe put something in the yard. If they bring like an Atraxa back, well, they'd have to get one into the yard first, but... Okay, so they're bringing back the Grief. Alright, so I'm going to respond to this by playing our Grizzly Salvage. And hopefully we dig to the Delirium land here. We don't find it. We do, however, find Urza's Saga. And Urza's Saga is pretty good. Thinking about if I want Saga versus... No, yeah, I think I do just want Saga. Alright, so we'll just put Saga in our hand. We do have a Grizzle in the yard. They take our Goryos, obviously. Then the question is, what do they have in their hand? Maybe they just rip our hand apart and then we get to play a Saga game. I'd be pretty okay with that. Ephemerate on the draw step, maybe. Pick up a Verdant, so I'm going to play the Saga. And get that going. This could get a Surveil land. If they take our Sheol, then so be it, you know. what it is. We have lands for a reason. I like that they kind of use their reanimate on this grief, and because I'd kind of rather be playing this like grindier game than playing against an Atraxa. Now we would have been in a better spot had I not accidentally passed through my first turn. But you know, sometimes that happens in Magic Online. That's the type of thing that would just never happen in paper. So just shake it off, you know. Ultimately, I personally play Magic Online for practice for paper. So okay, they've got another priest. Question is, what are they going to reanimate? Let's see. Saga ticks up. Draw an Overgrown Tomb, which is not really what we need. We've got Haywire, we've got Cookbook, and we've got they're fetching on our main here in response. Oh, they're ephemerating the grief. Alright, sure. They're gonna take our Nourishing Shawl. Saga ticks up. I clicked the wrong land. I meant to click Verdant Catacombs. I don't know why. I don't know what happened there. Because I'd like to fetch the Surveil land, but sure. And, I mean, it depends on if they can do something with this priest. If they can, they're not choosing to... Okay, so if they can't do anything with this priest, I think we're actually in good shape. If they can, then... Well, maybe not in good shape, but not the worst shape. If they can, then I'm a little more scared. Seems like maybe they just have like counter magic or something, or maybe removal. It's just like a solitude or something. So we'll go to our turn, see what we draw. We draw the Surveil land, so this is far too many lands. I'm gonna get the Cookbook, since I can turn lands I don't need into food that I can eat and gain life with, potentially. So I'm going to discard a card. I'll discard the Verdant Catacombs. And then we hit them for 4 with this construct. And then we've got some big constructs. We do potentially threaten 6 damage here next turn. So, I mean, the pressure is a little bit on them to do something. We're gonna gain life with this food if we need to. So this is gonna put us to 8. The question is, okay, I don't want to gain life now, I don't think. Okay. Saga ticks up. So I can play the Mortuary. So, alright, I guess I'm going to play the Haywire Mite. And then I'm going to go to combat. And we're going to threaten lethal. So they have to block. So I don't actually need to discard this Mortuary to pump them. I can just play it as my land. I don't need a Soul Spike, so we can put that in the yard. I was thinking briefly about potentially keeping it to just like shoot them naturally with Soul Spike, but I don't think we need to. We can just make another Saga token, or if we need to, we'll gain life, but hopefully we don't need to. Hopefully their hand is all just like counter spells. That's the goal. They could also have like Goryos, maybe. As long as they don't have, I mean, maybe they have like Atraxa and Goryos, but no way to get it into the yard. So, I mean, something like that is a possibility too. That would actually get us, because then they'd be swinging for 10. No, actually, we'd food up to 11 and be okay. All right, so they're attacking with the grief. No, they're not attacking with the grief. All right, so we can Saga. 6/6s. Go to our turn. Got a Thoughtseize. So I'm pretty okay with that. I mean, I'm gonna use the Saga. We'll make another construct and get a Sorin orb here. And I think we are just gonna Thoughtseize our opponent first. And they have a Solitude. So, okay, sure, they can eat one of our constructs, but do they have, maybe they have Ephemerate Solitude. That would maybe do it. Yeah, they do. Alright, so I mean, we're gaining a bunch of life off of this. So I'm pretty okay with that. And I can take the Goryos, leaving them with just a Grishoalbrand in hand. And if I attack with this construct, they can double block if they want. That will gain them life up to 9. I think that's just the best play here, probably. Okay, they are gonna double block. So we'll do 3/3, not that it really matters. So they just have a Grishoalbrand in play, or in hand, and nothing else. They can potentially, if they get a land, unearth their priest. That would be a little bit annoying. But we have a bunch of life. They do get a land. They don't use it, though? Interesting. Okay. Go to our turn. We draw the Shifting Woodland. Perfect. Okay. So, is there any benefit to... Yeah, we can attack first. This way I only need to find one Soul Spike to kill them. So we will copy Grishoalbrand. And I'm going to use the Shifting Woodland because my Grishoalbrand doesn't have haste anyway. So we'll draw a bit. We do have the Sorin orb if we need to. We'll pay another 7. And we pick up the Soul Spike, so we'll Soul Spike them, getting rid of a... They know about Goryos already, they know about Grizzly Salvage already, so I'll get rid of those two. Alright, so we win number 1 in the Reanimator Mirror against the Esper Goryos. And post-board here, we definitely want Nile Spellbomb. Pact of Negation is interesting. Probably we want that. They do have discard, but I mean, I think it's still worth it. Haywire Might, I think the 1 is probably okay. I could do like 1 Beseiju for the Witch's Cottage because this is not going to be a slower matchup. So I didn't really talk about this in the deck tech. I felt like the deck tech was already getting a bit long. But Witch's Cottage is interesting in that you can like Buried Alive for Grishoalbrand Ooze plus X, and then you fetch a Witch's Cottage, put the Ooze on top, and then you can hardcast the Ooze as your reanimation spell. So it's a way to turn Buried Alive into a reanimation as well as a Entomb. It's a little bit slow, so some matchups it's really not at its best. This is a matchup where I feel like it's maybe not at its best. Although Necrotic Ooze is, I think, very good here because we can copy their Grishoalbrand. So if they have a Grishoalbrand in the yard, we can just Necrotic Ooze and get that. And we don't even need to get a Grishoalbrand into our yard. What else don't we need? I could trim a Buried Alive. I definitely like the Endurances. Maybe we don't need all 4 packed. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Sorin, I think this is not the matchup for it. Pithing Needle, We could hit Priest. We could hit Grizzle, and then... Yeah, I don't think Needle is really what we need to do here. On the draw, I maybe don't mind trimming another land. We have 19 still. We could cut like... Well, no, I do like the Ignobles, though. Maybe we cut like Zurin Orb, since we're maybe going to try and play more instant speed. And... maybe one Grizzly Salvage. Don't want to cut the Grizzly Salvage. I think they're good. Maybe it's one Ignoble. Go like this. Alright, so we have no lands, and so this is not a keepable hand. Sometimes if you have like a hand that is on the draw, you can keep and then discard the Grishoalbrand. That's like an old school, well, not really old. It's an older like trick, but it's probably not the best here. You can potentially turn 2 with that. Well, I guess turn 3 because you have to spend the turn passing, but like 2, just then play land, and Goryos. So we're gonna mulligan. This we will keep. I'm going to bin or ditch the Soul Spike. So we have a Gristle in hand that the Saga can get a cookbook for. We have a Thoughtseize to maybe disrupt them a little bit. Grizzly can deal... Oh, perfect. We found a Goryos. So we have an interesting situation here where if we lead on Saga, we can't Thoughtseize. Yeah, I think I still lead on Saga. The upside of just like winning on turn 3, I think is too high here. And, you know, worst case, I still get to Verdant Hierarch next turn or something. But my plan is Verdant Thoughtseize to clear the way for the Goryos and just not use this Hierarch unless something goes wrong. So they've been a Goryos. Let's see what they've got as their follow-up. Hopefully we do find a third land. Oh, they're griefing us, so they're probably going to take Goryos. They might even take like Goryos plus Ignoble or something like that. Oh, they're taking our Thoughtseize. That suggests that they have counter magic, unless they take the Goryos next. But this Saga is going to be a little bit... Wow, oh, Grizzly, really? Interesting. Pact. I mean, alright. I'm in for that. They do get to ephemerate again on the upkeep. So maybe that's when they're figuring that they'll take the Goryos. We have to think about pacting that. So if we pact that, then we're just all in. On the other hand here, they take the Goryos. What are we doing? We're vulnerable to a discard spell if we pact this. We're vulnerable to an ephemerate. I think I'm okay letting this go. They'll take the Goryos, and then... I mean, we have time to potentially draw out of it. I think there's too many ways it can go wrong if we pact that. We are still going to get a Saga token next turn. So I don't mind that much. We'll see what else they have. Removal for our Hierarch would be pretty bad. Again, we are just going to have Grizzle in the yard, so that's good. Oh, they're solituding our Hierarch. Okay. Sure. Actually, no, we couldn't have pacted anyway. Yeah, we couldn't have pacted anyway, because if we pacted, then we don't have the Grizzle in the yard in time because the pack trigger comes up before the search off of Saga. So never mind. Alright, so they've scammed out a Solitude and they're going to try and just clock us. So hopefully we just draw another Goryos and then punish them. That's not another Goryos. Now we need to draw land Goryos, and it's a little bit taller of an order. But I mean, we'll try. It's probably has to be runner land Goryos. It'll be interesting to see. Okay, so they are ephemerating the grief. So that does well, if we find a land that can shave a turn off the clock with using a food. Got a land. They're gonna hit us for 3. Down to 14. End step will put a Grizzle into the yard. We pick up a Saga, so that's the land. And now we need to find a Goryos. The Shifting Woodland is probably too far away. I mean, maybe if we just like buy time with foods for long enough. But we'd have to hit like runner. Okay, so they have a Nile Spellbomb, so that's pretty bad. I should maybe have Needle in for Spellbomb. Well, now that I know that it's their Grave Hate. Could draw a land here. I think it's not likely to be good. Okay, we do pick up a Saga. And, I mean, we can threaten to win at instant speed here, if not for this Nile Spellbomb. The thing is, we need to just kind of hope that they, like, use it or something. They're not going to use it. So we lose 6 more. Okay, so they're fetching something. If they don't crack this Nile here, we probably have to force them to crack it at end step with the Goryos. It's like, what is our option to win this game otherwise? They have a Psychic Frog, yes. Okay, so if we Goryos here, they crack the Nile. We discard Grizzle, we have to draw another Nile. I mean, the odds are not good, but that's what our chances are. See if they draw, they do. They wipe our yard. We'll discard another Grizzle. Go to our turn. And it's gotta be a Grizzle. That is not a Grishoalbrand. And I think well, I could get Haywire Might and block. But then the problem is I'm too far away. I need land and Goryos. Alright, so we'll scoop it up here. Alright, close. We could have maybe had that if not for the timely Nile Spellbomb. So maybe more Haywire Mites could be interesting. I think maybe we don't need all 4 packed. Honestly, maybe we only even want like, well, no, a 2 packed against like Solitude seems okay. On the play, I don't know that we need as many ignobles. Maybe we go like this. Yeah, this is not keepable. This is a little better. mean, I'll keep it. I'm going to get rid of the Soul Spike. So Endurance is good. So I could lead on Nile Spellbomb. Or I could lead on the Ignoble Hierarch. And if they scam a Grief, I'd rather have the Nile Spellbomb in play. Well, to some extent, it turns off the scamming. Oh no, not with Ephemerate, never mind. But it is still good against them. But here I can Saga Ignoble next turn, and it's... I mean, yes, I can't Buried Alive on turn 2 here, but I think the upside of getting the Hate in play is worth it. Not 100% sure about that. I'm kind of expecting this Buried Alive to get griefed away anyway. So, you know, I'm kind of figuring, okay, maybe I'm just a Construct deck this game while I have Endurance and, you know, Nile Spellbomb to slow them down or whatever. They're griefing us, yeah. So the question here, though, is do they take Ignoble or do they take Endurance? Or do they take Buried Alive? I think all three are, like, actually defensible choices. They take the Buried Alive, okay. So they are not fearing our fair package, and they are instead fearing our combo package, which is perhaps right. Pick up a Nourishing Shoal. That could be food for Endurance if we need it to be. We'll go Ignoble. And, I mean, if they kill this and we don't draw a land, that would be pretty bad. But otherwise, you know, this is okay. See what they've got in store next round here. Wonder if they maybe boarded down on their combo. I'm not really sure how they board, but maybe they trim combo. They're Shocking and a Godless Shine. Oh no, we saw Goryo's game too though. Okay, so they have a Psychic Frog, sure. Psychic Frog is a pretty powerful discard outlet. Pick up a Verdant, which is not bad. I'm just going to pass here. Probably get a Surveil land. The attack, I will make a token. They're Thought Seizing us. Do I want to make them take Endurance? I think I'll make them take Endurance here. I'll probably take it, but I want to get the constructs going. They do go to 15 from that. And yeah, they're going to draw... Well, oh no, because I have the... Oh, they're flying. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that is a way to bypass what we're doing. Hopefully they don't have like a mega solitude situation happening here. That's one way we could lose this. We'll make our construct. We'll fetch out a Surveil land. Thoughtseize. I mean, if they have the Solitude now, it's kind of bad. Yeah, I'm going to graveyard that. I don't think that's good enough. Okay, we do pick up another Saga. So we are just kind of in on the Saga plan, it looks like. And I could get a Might, or I could get the Cookbook. I think I'm actually going to get a Might here. So we're going to hit him for 5 with this construct. And, I mean, they're under a bit of pressure. It kind of demands Solitude here. I mean, or maybe comboing, but let's see what they have. Fetching to 9. I didn't get the cookbook because I figured, you know, if there's a chance that they have some sort of hate that I need to deal with, maybe. And the cookbook, I mean, yeah, I can discard the shoal and and grow the constructs a little bit, but I'm gonna grow the constructs with my other saga too. So I don't know. Maybe that was an argument. Like I could have gotten the might with the second saga, and I'm a couple turns away from like comboing myself anyway. But we'll see. So they do have the Psychic Frog, but you know they don't have the cards to actually give it flying again. Okay, so they're discarding to give it a counter. Now they can give it flying, so then they'll get to swing with it. They'll get to draw a card. I'm not about to like discard or use a Nile there. Actually, they would have just been able to play around it anyway, so I'm not worried about that. So okay, they draw a card. But again, I'm attacking with some 5/5s next turn. Question is like, what do they have? They shock. That's bold. Grief? Is that even good enough though? 5, 6. Actually, it would be. It would live at 1 probably, unless I drew like an artifact or something. Wrath of the Skies. Well, that's bad. Well, that's very bad. Ooh, that's bad. All right. Well, we probably lose now. I'm going to Nile and then draw the card. That's really bad. Worm is also really not what we needed. Well, that definitely just lost us the game. Maybe if we had a Grizzle in the yard, we could like have hoped to get there. And Shifting Woodland is good. That's our reanimation spell, but we still don't have a Grizzle in the yard. We do have gain 15 life with Worm, which is kind of nice. Maybe they'll just like go for a Grief and then we gain a bunch of life. Alright, they've got Philagi. They do hit an Atraxa. So I think this is probably it. So now they can probably bring back the Atraxa and then ephemerate it. Hey, remember they binned a Goryos, I think. Did they bin a Goryos on turn 1? Oh no, was that? Yeah, I think they did. I don't remember for sure. Going to 4. So interestingly, yeah, yes, they're Goryosing back the Atraxa. Here I'm just gonna Shoal pitch Worm before they get to like draw into a counterspell. And I mean, again, yeah, they're at 4. So does it become anywhere in your graveyard? Okay, if it was any graveyard, that would have been cool, but no. Maybe they like go to 3 and forget about when we draw a couple lands and they forget about like make this an endurance and attack or something, but I'm not liking our chances here. I guess our best draw is just like a Buried Alive that somehow resolves. What'd they find? Philagi, Mush Flats, Goryos, Tainted Indulgence, Tainted Indulgence, Marsh Flats, Philagi. They didn't really have the best hit with Atraxa. And it looks like they have the Ephemerate. So I think it's got to be Buried Alive next turn. And then Atraxa, Ephemerate, Marsh Flats, Tainted Indulgence, Philagi, Ephemerate, Island, Grief, Fawn, Ephemerate, Atraxa. Alright, still nothing that's like Lights out. Oh no, the force negation for our Buried Alive is, though. Alright. So, yeah, their Atraxa is gone. We're going to get hit for a whole bunch of damage next turn. Overgrown Tomb. I mean, it almost seems good, because now we have Shifting Woodland, except for the part where we don't have a way to get a Grishoalbrand into our yard. So that's going to be that. I mean, we definitely had chances in the first game there. You know, which one did we lost this one? We lose this game too. I don't remember if we won game 1 despite the passing the turn, so that didn't really cost me. The Wrath of the Skies was just absolutely brutal there. We had some chances, but you know, the Nihil in game 2 was timely from them. Deck still felt reasonable. Let's go to the next game, see what happens. So our game, or round 2 hand here is, it almost looks bad, but I think this is actually not bad. We have a Grizzly, we have a Shifting Woodland, and we have Shoal Worm. So, I mean, the Soul Spike is kind of dead. Shoal Worm is usually dead, but actually not necessarily. Opponent leads on Thundering Falls. Discard or banning a Flage. So we are on the draw. I'm going to lead on Forest Haywire Might. And maybe, hopefully that actually dies so that we just get things for Delirium. Although Grizzly Salvage is very likely to get us to Delirium kind of anyway. Opponent is passing with some mana up. We have a Gorios, so that is also good. And I'm just going to pass here. Question is going to be, whoops, I didn't attack. Not that we really need it. The 1 damage doesn't matter. Actually, maybe it's correct not to attack in case they have some sort of like flash blocker, like flash in Snapcaster or something. I don't know. They've got Meticulous Archive. I'm going to go for a Grizzly Salvage in response. I should have actually done that after the Surveil happened. And I'm going to take Necrotic Ooze or a Talkthon Worm. I think Necrotic Ooze. Make them think that the threat is going to come on turn 4, but actually we just are going to have threats from, you know, our next turn. They're discharging the Might. I'm fine with that. Note that Energy does play Wrath of the Skies, so let's not get blown out by Wrath of the Skies again. 2 life puts us at 22, which is potentially very relevant for 3 Grishoalbrand draws. What do they have? We do have both of our basics, so if they have like Blood Moon or something, we don't care. Fairy. Alright. Well, we're going to go for it on our turn. But unless they have Force Negation, they're going to be dead here. So Shifting Woodland. Might as well play it. And then, yeah, let's Gorios back our Grishoalbrand. Do you have Force Negation? Looks like no. Alright. I'm actually going to attack the Teferi just in case I want to do instant speed stuff. Gain the life. I'll be able to kill them anyway with the shoals, so I'm not so worried about that. Shoal Pitch Worm. We can draw more cards. And more cards. And we can Shoal Pitch Worm again. And we are going off. Our opponent has scooped it up. Alright. So, against control, I like Pact and Negation. I think I'm a little lower on Sorin Orb. What else do we want? Probably some Bosejus. I don't think I expect Blood Moon. Buried Alive, well, Ignoble is not really needed. I don't need that like extra bit of acceleration. Haywire, it's probably not bad. Can cut a land. But I think Saga actually, well, maybe not in this game. Because I think they may actually board out the Wraths. If we win, well, if we win again, if we had showed them like a construct heavy plan, I think they'd leave the Wraths. But at the moment, I think I do want to leave the Wraths. Because I think they won't, cut that. Alright, maybe I'll cut the Forest. Since I'm bringing in greens with the Seiju. Actually, I don't think I want to cut the Forest. I think I want to cut maybe a fetch. What else? Do I want anything else too? Do I need push? No. Sorin? No. Footsteps? No. Needle? No. Maybe I don't need both mites. I mean, I expect Grave Hate though. Yeah, I think mites are good. And what do we cut? Maybe we cut like one Buried Alive and one more land. Maybe it is the Swamp. We've got 2 Overgrown Tombs, Mortuary. Maybe it's actually one of the Bosejus, just to keep my swamps up for Witch's Cottage. Usually I feel like I cut Witch's Cottage for Boseju, but here I do actually want Witch's Cottage for the potential Necrotic Ooze looping. How do I feel about this? We have double Thoughtseize, Goryo's double Pact, so we have a ton of interaction. I am going to keep this, even though it's a little bit risky. If I get a Grishoalbrand into the yard, this Thoughtseize is going to do pretty well for us. Or this Goryo's is going to do pretty well for us with double Pact. I'm going to lead on the Verdant so that I can fetch the Surveil land, and then probably next turn I'm going to go double Thoughtseize. We could also end up in a situation where we want to Thoughtseize ourselves if we like draw a Grizzle. So we'll get Surveil. Hopefully the best thing we could do here is to just Surveil a Grizzle into the yard. That is not a Grizzle. Endurance here a little bit useless. Hey, we actually do hit the Grizzle. So I am gonna put the Thoughtseize there, or put the what's it called? Put the okay, so they have Counterspell, Snapcaster Mage, Invert Polarity, Solitude Subtlety. Their hand actually doesn't really do anything, especially if I take Counterspell. I mean, Solitude is something, but if I take their Counterspell, they can't cast Invert next turn. They can cast Snapcaster, but what are they going to snap back? They have Subtlety, but I'm not playing a creature. And so I have Pact for a Solitude plus Pact for whatever they do, and I can Goryo's on the upkeep and response. So I'm going to take Counterspell, and I'm going to Thoughtseize myself and discard Grishoalbrand. And your move, opponent. What do you have? We are at 13, so that's potentially a little bit dicey. So I don't want to have to use one of the pacts now. I don't expect to need to. I want to be able to like connect with the Gristle. Yeah, they scoop it up. All right, so that was a really cool match against Control. Definitely highlighting some of the power of the instant speed stuff. And we're on to round number 3, 1-1 so far. Okay, so round number 3, we are on the draw. Our hand here doesn't really do a whole lot of anything. I mean, we do have Shoal Worm and we have a Saga, but we don't have a reanimation spell, and we don't really have a reliable way to get Grishoalbrand into our yard, so I'm going to mulligan this. This hand, we do have salvage. We have a couple lands, and we have Shoal Worm, which is not the most useful, but I am going to keep this, and we're going to get rid of Spike. So I feel like with the mulliganing with this deck, I feel like you should mulligan pretty aggressively. There are a lot of cards that are not that good, and you don't need that many cards to win. So like, you know, a good 5 is a lot better than like a mediocre 7 with this deck. And I feel like I tend to mulligan until I have a hand that can conceivably win on like turn 2, turn 3. Not turn 2, turn like 3 or turn 4. Well, I mean, turn 2 is nice if you get it, but you don't always get it. Okay, so I'm probably going to have to bring this in untapped. So I'm going to go for the Serpentine Wood, paying 3, and then playing my Ignoble, so that I have the option of getting this Verdant tapped if I need to, or if maybe if this Ignoble dies. And then we go from there. But next turn, I'm probably just playing Saga. And if I could Saga and then this Ignoble lives and I can salvage, that would be ideal. They're going to get to investigate. And there's no point in blocking because it's not like it has any attack anyway. Okay, so they pass, go to our turn, draw for turn. Buried Alive. Buried Alive is good. I think I'm actually not going to play it here, though. I think I'd rather play Salvage. Since Buried Alive, I think it's just going to eat a counterspell. And then Salvage, I can maybe use it like at their end step if they crack the Misty or something. And then maybe I can like make something happen that way. Note that we don't actually have a forest in play for our Delirium thing. Alright, so I'm gonna go for the Grizzly Salvage here. While they're tapped down to 1 and probably tapped off like 2 mana, like actual counter spell. I will take a Shifting Woodland though. Grishoalbrand is in our yard, so that's good. Now, I mean, we do just kind of get there only off of lands. They have a Bowmasters, so they're going to shoot our Ignoble, which is definitely a little bit annoying. But again, we don't actually care about Bowmasters. We can just win in response. So we go to their turn. They're going to hit us for a little bit of damage here. Fortunately, we do have Shoal Worm in hand, so I'd be a little bit concerned about life total if not for that. Okay, so we go to 15. They pass. Pick up an Endurance, which is not really something we need. I'm going to go for a Verdant. Probably going to have to fetch... I'm not going to go for the Buried Alive here. I'm going to hold the threat of making the token to like block the Bowmaster, and maybe they attack with less stuff. Alternately, I could like fetch a... I could fetch a Forest and just like play Endurance as a blocker. We have some different options there. And since the Saga is going to go away, we are kind of committed to using the Shifting Woodland on our main phase. And they're drawing a card. So here, I feel like I like cracking this, playing a Forest, flashing in the Endurance as a blocker. We aren't actually I didn't really think about potentially if we need this Endurance as like, oh, they're subtletying our Endurance. That's aggressive. What'd they pitch? They pitched a Murktide, okay. I'm totally fine with putting this on the bottom. And then I'm actually going to Shoal Pitch Worm here. Just get the life gain in under, you know, if they have like a Force of Negation or something like that. Just make sure I get the life gain in. They're going to hit us for a bit with these Orc Army and Bowmasters. And hopefully we're just going to win right through Bowmasters here. That'd be sweet. They may have some counter spells for some of our life gain, but we do just have a lot of starting life here, so that's pretty nice too. All right, so we go to our draw step, and I'm going to float a colorless. We can get the Sorin Orb. That represents a little bit more life gain. Then I can play Shifting Woodland. We can copy our Grishoalbrand. And maybe they're thinking that the Bowmasters is going to stop us, but it doesn't. They're going to get to stack a lot of Bowmasters triggers that are never going to resolve. So we do have essentially 24 with this Sorin Orb, so we do get 3 more draws. But we can just, again, see we can just win in response to all of this. We picked up Shoal Worm, so that's good. We have one of our Soul Spikes. And it's going to have a very fun time stacking all of the Bowmasters triggers. So I'll draw 7 more. We did pick up another Soul Spike, so that's not bad. So here I'm going to Soul Spike them. So we'll get rid of a Thoughtseize and a Grishoalbrand. And they get to choose if they want to counter this. Again, I'm trying to hold the Shoal back until after they maybe spend some counter magic. Force Negation would be a little bit annoying, but hopefully it's not that. Okay, I'm going to Soul Spike him again. And here I can get rid of a Goryo's and another Grishoalbrand. Okay, so we'll draw some more cards. We pick up nothing. They get to stack more Bowmasters triggers. Do we have an Endurance yet? We don't. So there's some good stuff in the bottom of our deck here. So I can sack the Turn Timber. Sacking that first because that potentially represents we'll draw 7 more. Okay. So we can Soul Spike our opponent again. We'll get rid of, what do they know about? They know about Grizzly Salvage, they know about Grishoalbrand, so I'll get rid of Grishoalbrand. And I guess I showed them a Thoughtseize, so I'll get rid of another Thoughtseize. And I'm going to Soul Spike them again. So they don't necessarily know. Okay, we'll use Grizzly and we'll. Okay. Did I Goryos this back? No, I didn't. I feel like they must assume Goryos. So I'll soul spike them again. Question here is going to be, do they have a counter spell? Because here they have to use it. Interesting, we get another 7 with our Sorin Orb too, and then we get more with Autochthon Worm. Okay, so they have counter spell. Actual counter spell. So now I can Shoal Pitch Worm. Like, a bunch of our shoals are on the bottom of the deck, which is very awkward. They're probably going to counter this. Oh, they're drawing a card, hoping to hit Force of Negation, I guess. Okay, so we'll draw another 7. Got a bunch more Bowmasters triggers. Shoal Pitch Worm. Shoal Pitch Worm. Actually, we don't need that there, but so alas. We will Endurance ourselves. So we're going to put the Reshuffle below the Evoke. Reshuffle. Draw more cards. This Bowmaster stack is amazing. I'm loving this. Alright, we're going to spike them again. And I'll again try to show them only cards that they know. Basically, I was hiding Buried Alive, which they can probably expect, but you know, if I don't have to show it, at least hold back on something. We win with all of the Bowmasters triggers on the stack, so that was really sweet. I enjoyed that a lot. Let's go to the next game. So against a blue-black Murktide, probably playing Psychic Frog. I want Pacts. I might expect like Ley Lines or something like that, so I do think I want Haywire Might. I don't think I need Nile Spellbomb. That's more if they're reanimating. I'll also cut the Cottage package for, again, I think being a little bit slow. Although, I mean, yeah, they're really more of a tempo deck than like a control deck. So this is maybe slow. It could be okay, but I don't know. We're going to cut the Buried Alive. And then I think we're going to cut the Ignobles. We'll go like this. So yeah, I mean that was powerful. Just disregard Bowmasters entirely. So we do have a Grishoalbrand. We have a way to get it into the yard, but we don't really have a way to get it out of the yard. So this is going to be a mulligan. Now, definitely discard decks are where we could be a little bit unhappy about mulliganing more. This, I mean, we have 2 Goryos. I'm going to keep this and ship the Worm. And basically we need to find a way to get Grishoalbrand into the yard. Buried Alive would be good. If we could find what's it called? Grizzly, that would be fine too. And then, okay, Saga represents a way of getting Grishoalbrand into the yard. So I'm going to get a Surveil land on 1, and then we're just going to play a Saga plan while we hold up this, like, Goryo's Pact situation. So, they shadow. I was going to say, are they going to Shadow of Doubt us or something? That'd be terrible. Shifting Woodland, I don't actually think we need that right now. So we do have double Goryos, so I feel okay with passing on that. We have Saga. We'll start to get the Saga stuff going. Probably we fetch with Delta next turn, grab basic Swamp. Kind of hold up this Boseiju for as long as we can. Alright, so they've got Bowmasters in. Again, we just saw how that isn't really an impediment towards us winning at all. It is a raise the alarm right now to make a couple tokens. So there's that. But, you know, we get to play a Saga game in the meantime. They've got Island, and they're just passing back. Shifting Woodland, alright. So Saga has ticked up. Play the Delta, and then again, like I said, we're just going to go fetch. I've thought about maybe a second Surveil Land in this deck. Here, I don't think we want it because we want to make the Saga anyway. But it is something I've kind of toyed with the idea of. I think it could be good. And the question is, do I want to trade a Saga for a Bowmasters? Saga token for a Bowmasters. If they have removal, they're going to use it anyway. So I think this I think this is worth doing now. And they might have another Bowmasters. That would actually be the main way we get really blown out here. Yeah, okay, fine. They do get to hit our construct, and then they pump their army a little bit bigger. All right, it happens. So we take a bit more damage, go to 12. Shocking that in, continuing to hold up some sort of counter spell. Draw for turn. Haywire Might. I'm going to make a construct here, since it's not like we're going to be using any of the rest of this. If third Bowmasters, that'd be something. But hey, imagine if we get the Grishoalbrand into play this game, we'd have so many Bowmasters. Haywire Might just as a blocker would be nice. I'm gonna get Cookbook because that at least can put a Grishoalbrand into the yard if I need it to. Play Haywire Might. And you know, we've got some interaction on the board. Haywire Might will gain us a little bit of life, which could be nice. Now we're looking to either draw a Grizzle or hit some way to get it into the yard. Interestingly, we do get to start shifting woodlanding our Saga on our upkeep. Maybe not. It's very slow. Psychic Frog. I think I'm not going to bin anything to Cookbook. There's nothing here where I'm like, I really need to get rid of this. But look, we held them back for a turn with our army of fools. We're going to play a tapped Overgrown Tomb. Yeah, they get to hit us for a bit here, but we'll just pass. See what they swing with. If they like just swing with the frog, or you know, they don't have any cards in the yard to give it flying yet. Now we will also have 5 mana, so if we go for a... Okay. I think I'm just going to double block this. And like, how much are you going to commit to pumping it? This 4 or 5 power. They need to discard at least 3 cards if they want... No, 4 cards if they want it to live. And then they're only on 1 card. So, I mean, you know... What will I discard to the food if I have to? Probably the Boseiju. Is their hand actually so bad that they're just going to discard, like, a pile of cards? That's a 3/4. We will discard this Boseiju. Make a food. You're going to discard 2 more. That's just subtlety, okay. This point's just going to trade, though. So, I mean, they can kill our construct, but then they lose their frog. Oh, wait, how did... Oh, the shrinking. Never mind. I completely forgot about that. Okay, I think it's still okay. We can woodland into a Haywire Mite if we need to. Okay, I've got 2 cards left. And I think I'll crack this food right now, because it's not like I'm on the construct plan. So might as well gain some life. Saga. Well, now maybe I'm back on the construct plan. Alright, so we'll play the Saga. If given the opportunity, I think I will trade my Shifting Woodland with one of the Bowmasters by like copying the Haywire Mite. So I do just have another Shifting Woodland. And again, I have double Goryos. So we'll become a Haywire Mite. And trade with the Bowmasters. Unless they kill it, in which case that's okay too. Gain some more life, which is nice, up to 16. So we have 2 draws if we end up in that spot. Do they have a Murktide maybe? Feels like a Murktide. Yeah, it's a Murktide. Okay. 2 mana left over. So that is no instants or sorceries, which is kind of funny actually. Come on, card that does something. Haywire Mite. That's kind of not it. Alright, so our Saga has improved. Got a Shifting Woodland. I'm gonna play a Haywire Mite. And yeah, we're just passing. We've got all of the lands in our yard. We can make a Saga token. We can think about actually binning one of these Goryos for a food, potentially. Alright, so they're just swinging with the Murktide. I think I'm probably not going to want to discard like whatever I get and a Goryos. So let's just make the construct now. And yeah, I'm not gonna worry about discarding now. So I could again. I think this works. I've never actually done this in a game, but I think I can make my Shifting Woodland a copy of the Saga, and then it'll gain a counter on draw step. But I think it's not actually worth doing here. So make another token. We get another something here. I'll get a Sorin orb. And the question is, do I want to play this Verdant Catacombs? So it does potentially... Yeah, I think I actually... I don't. I probably want to make a food with it. I'm going to attack with the 5/5. Alright, we'll just pass. We'll see what they go for. So Buried Alive would be a good draw. Grizzly would be a good draw. Grishoalbrand would be a good draw. So we have lots of good draws. Still okay. Yeah, I am maybe actually gonna make a construct here or make a food here. Ooh, we pick up the Grizzle. Perfect. All right, so I'm going to play a Verdant. I'm going to go to combat, and I'm going to attack with everything. We'll see what they do. I should have gone with the Grizzle first, maybe. Maybe not. I think that was maybe a mistake. We do get, so 6, 7, we can potentially do 8. 7 versus 8 is still 2 soul spikes either way, so that doesn't really matter. So I think I'm actually just going to wait. There's no reason to go for this yet. We just can win at instant speed again. So, you know, it's put the pressure on them. I mean, make them answer these construct tokens, right? Or if they go for some sort of win, then just sit on the response. See, they're taking first action. They're drawing some cards with Archmage's Charm. Now, this might be a window because they're probably tapped down to 1 counterspell. And it's also on their turn. So I like discarding the Grishoalbrand. Do I like fetching to 9 versus 10? I have 5 lands, so that represents 10 more life, so I have 20. So 19 versus 20. If I Goryos it back, I can... So I was thinking about if I Goryos back, I potentially can block, but maybe I do that once they've attacked, because, okay, they draw 2 more cards, but what are they going to do with those cards, right? Like, they still are kind of limited to 1 counterspell this turn. And then Grishoalbrand as a blocker represents more life gain, which makes me more likely to be able to combo. So they're attacking with Murktide. Okay. So 19 versus 20, 27 versus 26 is not going to matter either way, I don't think. So I could fetch a Forest with this Verdant to just thin the deck. Now I can bin the Gristle. Create another food. Now I can make the Shifting Woodland a copy of Murktide, or of Gristle. And then we get to go to blocks. I guess if they have like Surgical plus counter magic, that would get us here. That would be pretty bad. I mean, we have Pact. They do have to counter our Pact with the counter spell, because that's the, like, this is an ability. So. And then we actually just threaten lethal on the crackback. So, you know. So we can go to blocks. Actually, there might not even be a need to go for the combo here. Like, what if we just pass to our turn and attack them with constructs? What do they do? They probably just die. And if they don't, then we can go for the Grizzle there. Yeah, there's just no need to go for it here. We go back to our turn. Draw for turn. We draw another Pact. Okay, sure. And we're going to go to attacks. Like, you know, if they answer both these constructs, then they have to deal with a Grishoalbrand. Press down. Okay, so now I get to, well, actually I can do anything. I can do so many things against this. I can Pact. I can Grishoalbrand in response. I I think Grishoalbrand in response is probably the safest. But is it actual Grishoalbrand or is it... Yeah, because this I have 2 packs, so if they have like double force negation, this wins. Okay. So let's Goryo's back the Grizzle. And we can just win in response. Again, 2 force negations, we have that covered here. Do they have it? No, they don't. Alright. So we'll draw a bunch of cards. We just need to hit 2 soul spikes, so it should be pretty easy. Our opponent gets to stack a million Bowmasters triggers again. Now, famous last words, it should be pretty easy. But we'll see. Because so far we didn't draw any life gain. And this using Goryo's also lets us keep a food for a little bit of life gain, which is nice. So we'll draw 7 more. We did pick up Shoal Worm, so we will do that. And then we'll draw some more cards. We do have 1 Soul Spike. Then we will Soul Spike them. We can exile Thoughtseize Grizzly Salvage. We have Shoal Turn Timber, but there's no need to actually use that yet. We can draw and maybe we hit a worm. And we hit the second Soul Spike. So now we can just Soul Spike them again. Get rid of some Grizzly Salvages. And look at that, beating Bowmasters and then like a dress down. That was a sweet, sweet match where I feel like really leveraged some of the instant speed potential. And also the construct plan to sort of put an alternative clock on them. I really enjoyed that. Hopefully you did too. So let's go to round number 4. And we are on the draw, and our round number 4 hand is again not good. We just have 1 Saga and no other mana. So even though we have Goryo's Buried Alive, we just have to mulligan this. The risk of just like not drawing lands and then being dead is too high. This hand is a little bit better. So we can pitch the Soul Spike. We have land Ignoble. And then we have double Grizzly Salvage to try and find us a Shifting Woodlands as a reanimation spell, while also hopefully putting a Grishoalbrand in the bin. So our opponent is on the play, so we're just going to pass through turn 1. They've got an Ugin's Labyrinth, and they're getting rid of an Emrakul. Is that a Chalice? Oh no, it's a Talisman. Much less scary. Chalice normally wouldn't be that scary, except we're very reliant on this Ignoble with this hand. Then they've got Stirrings. They pick up a Sowing Mica Spawn. So that's the one that kills the land. Alright. So we draw for turn. We pick up another Ignoble. So creature mana is what we need in this spot. I'm going to grab an Overgrown Tomb and shock it in. Ignoble. And can they Mica Spawn us next turn? Was kicked, exile target land. They could get to 5 mana next turn. They can't get to 6, so I'm not going to play the Zurin Orb yet and like reveal that weirdness is happening. But I will play the Zurin Orb before they can potentially exile our lands, just so we just get a little bit of extra card draw, or a little bit of extra life gain out of it. Right now we just want to look like a nice normal Goblins deck, or maybe like Jund or something. I don't know. What plays Ignoble? I should know what plays Ignoble more. Just so that I can try and like bluff that I'm playing that more. There's a lot of value in bluffing what you are as a combo deck, potentially. Seems like, I'm not saying like be like a little bit amateurish and show up in like the all red sleeves and a burned t-shirt. This is probably a Thought-Knot Seer. That would have been a reason to play Zurin Orb. Oh, Kozilek's Command. Okay, so they exile that and then they make some spawns, sure. So But I mean, like, playing like you're playing a certain deck before your opponent knows what you're playing. Like, if you know what you're trying to pretend to be, you can sell the story a little bit better. It's not just, hey, I'm playing off-color fetches or whatever. Here they could conceivably Myca Spawn us, but I don't actually want to show that I'm doing something weird with this Zurin Orb yet, so I'm actually just going to pass. Buried Alive is interesting, but I mean, missing the land was pretty bad. We had 2 turns to try and hit it, and we just didn't. They've got... What is this? Okay, it makes another Scion. I'm surprised that they didn't just immediately kick... Actually, they could have just kicked the Myca Spawn. Why did they not just kick the Myca Spawn? They only have 5 now. Wait, they're out? Oh no, they have 6 cards in hand. What'd they get? They chose Forest, okay. Oh, they do have... Wait. 3, 4, 5, 6. 3 from the Scions. 4, 5. Then they play... Oh, they had 1 left over from the Labyrinth. I forgot about that. Okay. Yeah, I mean, here we do miss out on this 2 life. But I think it's worth... They have 2 cards in hand. What am I like completely misread what was happening in their part of the game information. Worm. Yeah, not what we need. We need land. We need land so that we can Grizzly Salvage into more land. I mean, this is a big chunk of life gain, so like maybe they just kind of stall out and they don't have anything good left. If we find like a Goryo's, we're not that far off, despite having 1 permanent in play on turn 3. One creature in play on turn 3 as our only permanent. Well, now we're doing worse. Alright, I'm just going to scoop it up here. So here's a case of not giving them too much information. I definitely don't want them to see our hand, given that I think there's a decent chance that they don't bring in Grave Hate there. I'm going to bring in all of my Artifact Hate, although actually, given that there's a little bit of a mind game going on here, because given that they probably aren't going to be bringing in Grave Hate, do I need all of the Artifact Hate? I mean, they are just going to be a Trinisphere deck anyway. I'm going to bet that they're actually bringing in removal. So what don't I need? I mean, I think I want Footsteps just to be as fast as I can. Pact, I don't think is necessary. Push, I don't think is necessary. Vengeful Pharaoh could actually be good here. This might be a Vengeful Pharaoh kind of matchup. Sorin, I think, is just going to die. I'm not super sold on that. The Thoughtseizes, I think Ignoble is actually going to get cut. We could cut like 1 land. I do want my basics. We cut like 1 Polluted Delta. Because we've got the Visage Juice. Or maybe Witch's Cottage is a little bit slow. Nah, that might still be okay. Especially if I have like Pharaoh buying time. Maybe I'll cut like 1 Thoughtseize. So we'll go like this. So they're probably figuring that they need to like wipe out our creatures. We're some sort of creature deck. We are, however, not a creature deck. How do I feel about this? We've got Goryo's Buried Alive. We've got Saga. I mean, if we knew we had like turn 1 Woodland, turn 2 Saga, turn 3 Buried Alive, it's not bad. But we do need to draw a black source. The odds of that are decently high. I'm going to keep this. It's a little bit risky, but I am going to keep it. Opponent mulligans the 6. The Endurance is a little bit of a dead card here. The Soul Spike is a little bit of a dead card. The Haywire Might is even a little bit of a dead card. Although Haywire Might we can play at least. You know, they might have like an artifact that stops something, so it's Haywire Might isn't really a dead card here. And really what we're hoping for is that they just completely misread what we were doing game one, and we just kind of get them here. So we're going to go to our main, and we're going to play a tapped Shifting Woodlands. No forest. Haywire is... Yeah, so we'll play Haywire off the Saga. They've got a Utopia Sprawl. That's something I'll probably just eat right away with the Haywire in order to slow them down. Will we draw? Something. Verdant. Okay, Verdant's very good. So I'm going to go Saga. I'm going to go Haywire Might. And then I'm going to crack it, eating the Utopia Sprawl. Next turn, we've got Buried Alive, and then we've got Goryos. So what does our opponent have in store for us? All right, pick up a Nourishing Shoal. That's kind of okay. So I'm going to get a black... Yeah, I'm going to get Overgrown Tomb here. Because there's a chance that like they play a soul land, they thought not us, and then we like have to use the Shifting Woodland with like a land we draw. So I think it's worth taking the damage for it there. 2 damage, we're at 21 life. We can be at 22 anyway with like Shoal Pitch Endurance at a minimum. So we should have 3 Grishoalbrand activations kind of no matter what. I'm going to get Grishoalbrand. We have Artifact, Land, Sorcery. We will have Creature. So I'm going to get Grishoalbrand, Vengeful Pharaoh. Although, do I want to show them Vengeful Pharaoh? Maybe it's okay to show them. Because, yeah, there's enough that could go wrong here. Like, if they get, like, Soul Land, Thought Knot, and we just, like, don't have... Although, if they have Kozilek's whatever, that's a little bit bad. Probably only want 1 Grizzle in the yard, because I don't want them to eat multiple things like that. So I'm just going to get 1 Grizzle and Vengeful Pharaoh. Yeah. Could have also just thought about making constructs and like play a slower game, but I mean, if they have like colorless land, Kozilek's Return, that's what it's gonna be. I don't know. Maybe they're hoping that they can like get us in response. I don't know. They ditch and all is dust. Thought not. The ring. Okay. So we can play around the ring. The ring is actually not that scary. Because we can win at instant speed. So we go to our turn. We draw for turn. We find a Zurin orb. So I'm going to let this go. I could get a Haywire Might. Or I could get a Cookbook. I think I get a Haywire Might. I'm going to get a Zurin orb. And I'm just going to pass. And I'm not actually going to go for it yet. I'm going to wait till they tap some mana. I'm going to actually let them draw here. Because I assume they're going to play something. When they go to play something, that's when I'm going to play the Goryos. Okay, so now here's where we go in response. So Goryos back the Grizzle. We draw some cards. We shoal a worm. So our opponent tapped very quickly. I think they thought they were going to win, but instead they're going to lose. We can shoal another worm. No, we're playing around the ring fairly effortlessly here. A Soul Spike our opponent using a. They know about Grishoalbrand, and I'll use a Thoughtseize because it's just one of it. Draw some more cards. Draw some more cards. 11 cards left in our deck. Draw some more cards. Soul Spike our opponent some more. What will I show them? I mean, if they saw Goryos, so I'll use Goryos and Buried Alive. They haven't seen Grizzly Salvage yet, so maybe I'll hide the Grizzly Salvages. This is another Soul Spike. Goryos and Buried Alive. And are 2 of our 4 bottom cards Nourishing Shoal? That's actually crazy. So and one of them is what's it called? A Soul Spike. That's very crazy. Alright, so now I actually will use a Grizzly Salvage. So we can target ourselves for the reshuffle. Endurance. Opponent says, wow, sick, and then scoops it up. Alright. So we are... Alright, so now our opponent is going to probably be a little bit more on Grave Hate. I could think about Needle here. Needle would... Yeah, Needle would potentially shut down if they have like a Relic or a Soul Guide or, you know, whatever piece of something they have. What don't we need? I mean, the Pharaoh's like iffy. I think we could probably cut the Pharaoh. If we don't want it here, though, when do we want it? Maybe this shouldn't be in the sideboard. Maybe it's trying to get a little bit too cute. I'm just gonna go like this, though. Maybe, no, I'm not sure. Maybe the Pharaoh should be in, because, like, they play a Thought Knot, we take 1 hit and we kill the Thought Knot. That's a lot better than, like, the Thought Knot's around for multiple turns. But they did just see it, so I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna keep this. Get a Surveil land. We do have Necrotic Ooze as a potential reanimate. It's a little bit slow. Hopefully, I mean, we also have the line of like Grizzly Salvage into Boseiju, which is kind of a cute line. Well, it's got Prismatic Vista. Do they have like a, I mean, Sprawl is not what we wanted to see. This is accelerating them. We would have rather seen like Stirrings, I think. Especially when our hand is like a little bit slow. Okay, I mean, Boseiju is something that answers hate. Next turn, we're looking at Woodland / Hold Up Salvage Boseiju after we Surveil this turn. We can... Oh, no, we can't. Boseiju and the Sprawl is kind of useless. Trinisphere, maybe? Another Sprawl. Why wouldn't they use that and then tap the land, though? Okay, they've got Talisman. So we could kill that, but they get a land. None of these things are worth killing. So they just have lands anyway for them. So we're going to get a Surveil land, Mortuary. Worm, go in the yard. We do potentially have the ability to just like shifting into a worm, which is something. Goryos. Okay. I mean, if we can hit a Grizzle off this Grizzly Salvage, even if they have the Mica Spawn, it's not good enough. I'm going to hold back the Swamp for the Goryos. Got another Utopia Sprawl. Got all of the ramp they could possibly want. 4, 5, 6. Thought Distortion. Got all non-creature, non-land cards. in that player's hand and graveyard. Okay. I mean, we do have Necrotic Ooze. So I'm going to Grizzly Salvage here. And I'm going to take an Urza's Saga. And now they take our Goryo's Vengeance, but they don't take our Grishoalbrand. They take one Soul Spike. So we do need to be mindful of that, but it's not like the end of the world. They only have one card left. So they're going to pass. And I mean, we have a Goryo's? I mean, sometimes you just top deck like a god, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I'll play the Saga. And we're going to go for the Goryo's. And we'll go to combat and attack. And we'll draw some cards. And we have a Soul Spike, so that's good. I'll get rid of 2 Buried Alives. Draw some more. Draw some more. We can play the Sorin because we are in our second main. Cast that. We don't have another Sheol or another Soul Spike yet. And there's the Sheol and the Soul Spike. Sheol a Worm. Can Soul Spike our opponent. Get rid of Thoughtseize, get rid of Salvage. Oh, it says sick top deck. I wonder if they were sarcastic or not about that. I mean, it was pretty lucky. But I mean, we put the cards in our deck to draw them, and unless they had like something crazy after that, we would have been. I think we would have just won the next turn anyway, because we had like land, and then we had copy with the woodland and/or play the ooze. So maybe, but we're 3-1, and this deck continues to be A, really fun to play, and B, I think it's actually pretty powerful. Let's go to the next round. We are on the play in game number 5, and our opening hand is again unkeepable. So we've mulliganed a ton, but I think that's just, what you're priced into when you're playing this deck. Yeah, we can't keep this. If this was a green land, I mean, maybe. But even on the play, we just have one draw step at hitting a land, and then we still have no path to get the Grishoalbrand back into play, so I'm going to mulligan. Our opponent has revealed a Gigantha. We have Ooze, we have Buried Alive, so this is the combo, but it's a little bit slow. I am going to keep it. We get to play a Saga game in the meantime. And, go for the combo when we need to. So we're going to go to my main. I'm going to go Swamp Haywire Might. Actually, I maybe should have gone to... No, I'll go Swamp Haywire Might, because then I can go Saga next turn and then Tomb Buried, or maybe if they're playing like an aggressive red deck, I could go tapped Tomb and then Saga Buried. Different options. Depends on if I like draw a land for the Ooze as well. They're going Arid Mesa. They could be Storm. They could definitely be Storm. I think with that in mind, I'm actually going to go untapped Overgrown Tomb. And if they have a Ruby Medallion, we have the Haywire for it, which is nice. And if they have a Ral, then we're a bit sad. Yeah, this is Storm. And they keep whatever they surveil on top. So Aether Hub, wait, is it Storm? It might just be Boros Energy. Oh yeah, it's just Boros. Okay, so that's a lot better for us. They've got an Amped Raptor. They get an Ocelot Pride. Okay, sure. So one nice thing about shocking this in, Grizzly Salvage, we can use it to find a land, which will be our 4th land for the Necrotic Ooze. I'm going to take the Forest because that's the least amount of life loss. So we go to our next turn. Draw for turn. Sorin Orb is not bad. And we're going to go for the Buried Alive here. And put the Grizzle into play, or into the yard. And then I'm going to actually put 2 Ignobles because I don't want to draw them. I think I don't play the Zurin Orb here. No reason to, like, expose it, I guess. And, like, they're not going to play Chalice Zero or anything like that. I will probably just block with this Haywire Mite in order to A, save a little bit of life, and B, gain a little bit of life. And I don't think they're going to have, like, main deck Artifact Hate or you know, main deck Artifact or Enchantment that I need to get rid of. They have Guide of Souls, that doesn't matter. Got Unstable Amulet, that doesn't matter. Create another cat, so they gain some life, but we're going to our turn and we have a Necrotic Ooze in hand. Pick up a Soul Spike, that's decent. So note we have 4 lands because we played the Saga a little bit late, so we could sack lands with the Zurin Orb if we need to. So we will pay 7, draw 7. Okay, we have Shoal Pitch Worm. That's excellent. We have all of the worms in our hand. We'll pay 7, draw 7 again. Alright, we've got another Shoal Pitch Worm. Pay 7, draw 7. I'll pay a 7 more. We'll Soul Spike our opponent. Getting rid of Buried Alive and I guess a Thoughtseize maybe. We will Soul or Shoal Pitch Worm again. We have Endurance, so that's good. Draw some more cards. We've got another Shoal Pitch Worm, so we quickly found our shoals that time. Draw down to 1. Now we are going to Soul Spike a little bit more. So we can exile 2 Grizzly Salvages. Soul Spike again. So we can get rid of a I guess Grishoalbrand, Thoughtseize, whatever, it doesn't matter. We'll Endurance ourselves, getting rid of an Ignoble. And they scoop it up. We are 1-0 over Boros Energy. All right. So sideboarding, I expect some artifact or enchantment based Grave Hate. So I feel like I like the Haywire Mites. I feel like I like Boseiju. Fatal Push is not really what this is about. Footsteps of the Goryo could be interesting because we can probably just win at sorcery speed. Sorin could also be interesting if they're like hating the yard enough. So 6 cards out, one of which is probably a land. They're fast enough that I don't know if I need the Witch's Cottage. On the draw, I might also cut the Ooze. I mean, it was good there, but just as a reanimation spell. Chances are I don't need it as a reanimation spell. Thoughtseizes I don't know that I need. Do I really need the Sorin? I mean, Sorin is good. They're going to gain life, actually. Sorin is maybe not that good. And then, maybe we actually cut 1 Saga. Because I feel like the fair plan is not very good against them. So let's go like this. So I mean, Saga as a tutor for Answer to Hate, yes, but Saga as this is effectively a 4-card hand that is a little bit slow. I'm gonna mulligan this. This is better. I'll keep this and ditch the Soul Spike. Could have thought about ditching the Nourishing Shoal too, but I don't know. So we have turn 1 Surveil, and we have the extremely lucky turn 2 possibility where if we Surveil a Grishoalbrand into the yard, we just have turn 2 Goryos. They've got an Ocelot Pride, alright. More likely we have turn 2 Grizzly Salvage and then hopefully a turn 3 win. Do you find a Grishoalbrand, which is precisely at the wrong time. We needed it to be on top of our deck, well, on top of our deck after the fetch, maybe a taller ask. They've got Aether Hub. And, I mean, what did they maul? No, they didn't maul. No, they did maul? They did maul. Okay. They're going to attack with Ocelot. Ocelot is good, but it's just, I mean, Boros has this thing where it's like very good against fair decks and not very good against unfair decks. So, I mean, it depends really on what hate they're running, and they could definitely find the right hate that they need to get us. Hopefully they don't. Hopefully they just like play, I don't know, like an unstable amulet. Or Johnny. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, so I'm gonna get Mortuary. I don't need that. It's a little bit weird to put things in the yard sometimes, but there's enough life gain in the deck between the shoals and the between the shoals and the soul spikes that like you can put a nourishing shoal in the yard. What does our opponent have? Well, they've got an army of cats. We are gonna need to find a Grishoalbrand off this Grizzly salvage, though. If we don't, we're actually in a bit of trouble. Yeah, I mean, let's see. Another Johnny. Okay. They've transformed their Johnny. Okay. They don't control another red permanent, so that's good. That's probably key to keeping us alive there. Come on, Grizzle. Ooh, Grizzle. Alright. I'm going to take the Autochthon Worm so that it's in our hand. We could also think about taking the Endurance. I think I'm going to take the Worm, though. I mean, we do run into a risk of just dying here if the Endurance is like too low in our deck, but it's a risk we're gonna take. All right, time to Goryo's Vengeance our Grishoalbrand. Do you have Surgical? No. All right. And I'm actually going to attack them here, so that gets them to 12, and then 3 Soul Spikes is lethal. So it's just a little bit less demanding on us looping. We'll pay some life, draw some cards. I'm gonna Shoal pitch a Worm. We will pay some more life, draw some more cards. Got Shoal pitch Worm again. A draw. Got 1 Soul Spike, 2 Soul Spikes. We do have the Endurance, so I think we're just okay here. Draw. I'll pay the Sorin, but we do just have the 3 Soul Spikes here now. I'll shoal another Worm just in case. Then we can Soul Spike them. I'll bin a Goryo's and a Buried Alive. Soul Spike them again. Get rid of 2 more Buried Alives. And then we Soul Spike them again, getting rid of a couple Grizzly salvages. And that's it. We got the 4-1. So yeah, this deck was, let me quit out here. This deck was really good. It consistently impressed. Game 1 was just, I mean, maybe I could have made slightly different mulligan decisions. Game 1 was close. And, you know, maybe with some different player, different mulligan, I could have gotten there. But I feel like I kind of hit the groove for some of the later games or matches. And it just really, really went well. I'm greatly enjoying this deck. I think this is an upgrade over the Sorin version substantially. I don't want to have to buy soul spikes and paper, so I'm slightly happy that I haven't 5-0'd with this. I just, we got the 4-1 there. But I'm slowly talking myself into having this be a real contender for what I'm playing in Modern RCQ season coming up. Yeah, I mean, let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you like the deck, what changes you might make. Changes that I would make at the moment. Zurin Orb was decent this league, although I've been thinking about whether Zurin Orb can be cut. Just because if we're trying to win at instant speed, Zurin Orb isn't actually all that good. So maybe cut it or move it to the sideboard was something I was thinking. I was also thinking about if the Witch's Cottage Necrotic Ooze package is just too slow, potentially. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about that. Other than that, there could be some work in the sideboard to do, maybe. There might be some other interesting 1-drops we could get. We could think about, like, a Vexing Bauble, maybe. We could think about... yeah, there might be some other interesting 1-drop. I did have, like, there's also the boots if we want, Lava Spur boots if we want to, bring them in a more fair matchup. The Vengeful Pharaoh might not be necessary. Could think about, like, shifting a Footsteps to the main, but I think this list is getting pretty refined now. And it's great. Try it out. Let me know what you think. Keep winning games with combo decks where your opponent has a good 50 or 60 Bowmaster triggers on the stack. Yeah, all right. Bye, everyone. Till next time.